So I'm about ready to start building this timber frame deck shelter. I cleared most of the space here right now. I need to do a little bit more moving around and to make more space. I want to see if I can squeeze my jointer in here instead. That way I can have everything close here, because now I put it way over there. So half the shop is basically empty and everything else is shoved on the other side. Let's just take a clockwise tour around this. So I put the table saw here, going that way. Don't have massive amount of feed, but it's on caster so I can move it in case I need more while I'm building this. Continuing on, have the bandsaw. And then I put the joiner behind the bandsaw. So the fence of the joiner is actually a few centimeters lower than the table of the bandsaw, so there's no interference there. So I get about 1.2 meters of in feed over there, and the out feed is, yeah, 5.5 meters or something like that. And dust collector goes there. I put the planer here. Got my apron on it for now too. So yeah, that one's got more than enough in feed and out feed for anything I'm gonna do while I'm building this timber frame thing. And you got the workbench, the miter station, and that assembly table, and this thing over here. So for the timber frame shelter that I'm building, I'm not gonna use any of these planers and stuff for that. These pieces are way too big to move through a planer like this. And the biggest thing I'm gonna be building that needs a joiner or planer while I'm doing this enclosure or need the space for it is probably a bedside table. So nothing bigger than that. So this is gonna be plenty. I don't think we're gonna have issues. For planing, I am planing the timber frame pieces, but this is for. So this is a fairly big Makita planer. It can plane, what is it, like 7 inches, 170 millimeters in width. So single pass is good enough for my 5-inch pieces that I'm doing. So. It's gonna be a lot of wood chips. There's a resin that's been coming out of these random pockets here and there, and I'm gonna see if I can get rid of most of that before we do any planing. It's partially solidified, so it's not too bad. All right, so first post is planed, and I really like the result from this planer. I didn't even check to see if I was going the right direction, but there's no tear out, so I mean, also this is a very, I just got this planer, so knives are very sharp still, so obviously that helps. And it's spruce, so that's very soft. But yeah, this is looking nice. As for the planer, let's take a look. There's some pitch build up there. We can clean that up with some we can clean that up quickly. And I'm also gonna put some wax on here for the next time. It wasn't too bad to push, but as much as this kept building up, it got a bit harder. And yeah, there's a fair bit of plain shavings. Light and fluffy shavings. Unplugged. So, next up, I need to select reference faces. But I just want to mark what one side does my reference face, so I can make 90-degree marks from that line and have it be the same across the entire thing. So I just want to sight down this thing and see which side is the least off from being straight and stuff. Yeah. It's slightly curved in one direction. So, placing it like this, now that it's crowned up. Yeah, so this is the up face. Let's just make a mark. Up, up. Just clean cut this end at a proper 90 degrees. So this is the top and this is the outside. I'm gonna make everything 90 degrees from this corner. So that's my actual reference. Let's bring this in far enough so we get rid of most of this end defect. So yeah, this is going to be the finished end of this thing. And now I need to actually carry this down to where it's going to be so I can make some indentations in it where it's going to be mounted. Let's go. So I got these concrete plinths set in here already last year. And these have these bolts here, they go to a mounting bracket. So I'm going to place this beam on top of this and just have these make an indentation so I know exactly where the mounting bracket goes. I'm not sure how well this comes off on camera, but in the sunlight and this freshly planed surface, there's a lot of chatoyance here. It is glistening in the sun. And yes, this also might not show up on camera, but the first side that I planed, I didn't take off enough, so there's some rougher surfaces here, but this is going to be the bottom side, so it's not going to be visible. And as you might have seen, there's a line there. I scribed the end of this one, so that's where I'm gonna use as a cutoff point for this part. And then I'm gonna size the other one exactly the same size as this one. Seems like the homeowners are here to make an inspection on the progress. And before I take these indoors, I'm gonna put some oil on it, specifically a mixture. Now, I mixed a version of this myself before, but this time I'm trying a store-bought version. And what this is, usually anyways, equal parts linseed oil, tar, and turpentine. And it's pretty good at, yeah, does all the linseed, does all the normal oily stuff, but it also provides more water deflection. And it smells really nice. I really like it. We'll see how it ends up. Let's take it outside. So I just went over the corners or the edges with a block plane quickly. And I expect I have to apply some more oil in certain spots, but as I do joinery and stuff, but I just want to do a complete first coat before I do anything else. Let's see. Yeah. So the version I've used before, I've added dark or almost black pigment to, but this one is completely unpigmented, so any pigmentation here is from the linseed oil and pine tar. Figured I'd show you the difference on one that's been treated and one that isn't. It looks pretty nice. It's a bit yellow. I might end up doing a second coat of with some darker pigments in it, but we'll see how this holds up over time. It'll probably go very gray in a year or two anyway, so these are inside now. And out here I have done some more planing and some cutting. That one is for the center vertical. It's cut to final length. Those two are going to be the corner verticals, and those are going to be the angled supports at the corners. So let's get those cut to final length as well. some on the first side here now. Some nice colors in these. No, this bluing is just a natural effect. There's nothing wrong with it structurally, just a lot of colors. Anyways, I'm gonna finish these, do the remaining 3 sides, and then carry them inside. And I got all the pieces indoors. So yeah, that should give you a sneak peek of how these are going together. This is where I have to call it for this video. I'm gonna let this oil dry and get ready to start cutting some joinery. A lot of this is pretty green. Apart from these longer ones and the middle ones, they've dried a lot, but those end ones, they're basically, I don't know if they're waterlogged, but just give me a moment, I can just check. So what do we think? Let's try this one, because this is the driest one, and I'm not gonna poke. This is the offcut from that one. So this is the unoiled version. Yeah. It's 26% moisture content. And I'm guessing these are more. Yeah, they're over 30. Now the oil is not gonna seal in any moisture. That's gonna be able to get out on its own. That's why you use oil and not the plastic finish. Now it's time to do some cleanup and need to get this boat out of here. And in case you're wondering why I didn't start putting this up on the concrete pad instead of here, is because until an hour ago I didn't know this boat was leaving here today. So this is not our boat. So this is stored here as for a family friend. So they're here in an hour and a half or something. So I just need to clear off all my stuff so they can roll the boat out. Maybe I'll start on the second wall over there and have the first wall here. This duck shelter is my biggest project ever. It's going to be interesting to see how it turns out. I have no idea how long it's going to take to make all the joinery, so we'll see. Maybe it's not very complicated. It's simple mortise and tenon for the most part, and some high flaps. So those aren't overly complicated joints, and we're not looking for sub-millimeter accuracy on the joints. It's nice if they're really tight, but they don't have to be, so they just need to be sturdy. And this size timber is going to be pretty sturdy as this. So anyways, stay tuned for the next video where we start cutting the joinery. I'll see you then.